and foraging and fishing and deer hunting, that's going to go a long ways for self-sufficiency in your area.
But you're going to have some edible.
Yeah,
I've been buying books.
Yeah.
I've been buying books. So if anything goes
The
down,
other-
I can read my books.
The other thing is find you a mentor in your area that forages wild edibles.
Well, they were having.
We had the wild edibles.
I know, and I couldn't make it.
Yeah. And he was in a hurry, and he did his presentation.
Yeah.
He did have some books.
Ozark survival skills.
I'm sure he has classes that you can take.
Well, it's he volunteers for a 501c3.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. The Ozark Survival School? Is that his site?
There was one that
I'm not
we
sure.
can get it from Carol. It might be on our Ozarks stuff in the Fairbook trade too.
So
Or
have
in
you
our-
ever butchered your own animals?
No.
Okay.
I leave that all that. I like to look at them and eat them
Yes.
and not see anything else. But that's something that, if it comes down to it, that's just the way it is.
So let me ask you something. Are you a believer? Are you a Jesus follower?
Yes, I am.
All right. So for me, butchering and even hunting and taking our own meat is a very deep spiritual thing. When I take an animal's life and shed its blood to give me temporal life, it's a stark reminder of Jesus giving his life and shedding his blood to give me eternal life. So when I eat meat and we butcher our own, that's part of our worship.
Yeah, you're thanking the Lord for what he's provided.
Yeah, and it's just a reminder. Every time you eat a hamburger, a reminder of what Jesus did.
Sure.
And so that's kind of when we look at it that way, it's a lot easier for me to take an animal.
I can't dispatch.
Yeah.
I can't. He does all the dispatch.
Yeah, and my problem is I get attached.
Oh yeah.
And it's difficult.
Yeah.
Like deer, you can sit up in a blind and shoot one.
Right.
It's no big deal.
But
know?
you've read Exodus, right?
Oh yeah.
What did they do with the Passover lamb?
I know.
They brought it in the house. They raised it with them. They kept it. It's
They
so that it
nurtured
made
it.
that it made it very real and a very stark reminder as they ate it of the sacrifice that was made. That's the purpose.
That's the mirror right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't handle the moment that it changes from the live animal.
It goes from being an animal to meat. That's kind of
That moment is
It's a magic
Or
moment.
the name of the animal to.
yeah.
that doesn't bother me
My
as
kids
bad.
will sit around and say, "Well, Spot's pretty good to eat."
That doesn't bother me as bad because
My kids did that all the
Oh,
time.
We
yeah.
were very similar to
They
Liz.
compared their
Our
tenderness.
calf, a butcher calf for the year was in our yard. That was our lawnmower.
Yeah.
And so we would pet him, he would be, fairly tame at times. We didn't do that but we did that several times growing up. And so we had names like Lawnmower, that's the one I remember the most, is Lawnmower. And then we had Knucklehead, Knothead because he would headbutt stuff. So Daddy was worried about us girls. So he actually went back out to pasture because he headbutted us.
Oh goodness.
And yeah.
So if you get where you're comfortable with your 5 laying hens, and I definitely suggest something mobile, some kind of tractor, something like what Hank sells here. And he sells a very good product.
Yeah.
Very good product.
I have a stationary one right now, and it's got a 6 nesting box. But I also have been considering these when I do get more chickens because it's mobile
Right.
and I can move it around and I can have my laying hens in one and maybe my chickens and chicks and pullets and whatever and these.
Yeah, the ideal homestead would have that for the hens and turn about
these
five
for the
turn
hens,
and turn about 5 batches of broilers through something like that, and
Okay.
that could even be shared with like 3 families, and then come together, do the processing, and
So
maybe
are you familiar with broilers that he's talking about, the meat
Yeah,
birds?
the meat birds, raising,
and if you had a neighbor that didn't mind the dispatch, then maybe you could do the packaging or putting in the bag.
husband does it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
he does it every time we do it
Yeah.
here, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if you're since you have a stationary house already, I would suggest that at least while you're there, that and that you would open up and let those hens just run free. Just
What
let
if
them
they
free
run
range.
away?
They won't.
You know, it's funny.
Do it in
They
the
did-
afternoons.
I actually left the doors open, and they ran out and they went around and they pecked around, and then they came right back.
When it gets dark, if they've been roosting there and that's where they're eating, when it gets dark, they're going to go back there and roost.
They do.
Yeah, exactly.
They go right back
Exactly.
into the coop. Actually, if the coop door is, it's funny because when it turns dusk, they go right up
Yep,
into
absolutely.
the
Sure.
duck and all the chickens.
So
That's
in
their
the
home.
evening, when you get home from work or whatever, if you just kick them out and let them run while you're around the evening and then shut them up, you're going to scatter that boron and stuff back out all over your ground. They're going to eat more of your ticks and your chiggers and your bugs.
Yeah.
And that's going to do you a lot more good than just having them in a pen.
Okay.
This is a
that's
really
what-
good process, but if you already have a stationary one, you need to make full use of it by letting them free range.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny that you said that because my husband was like, "What's the point?" You know, like I thought we were gonna have free range, and I'm like, "Well, our neighbors got like hundreds of cats,
Yeah.
and they're just keep multiplying, and they're all over the place."
How old are your chickens?
They are 8 weeks now.
They might need to be a little bigger than that if you've got a feral cat population. They might need
Yeah.
to be probably 12 weeks before you start turning
I
them
went
loose.
over there.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
Like,
that,
well,
people live in the country for different reasons, and some of it's to have a whole lot of pets. But
well, not to get too far into it, but their pets, all of their pets are free range.
yeah.
So their horse ranges on,
Yeah.
pastures on our property,
Yeah.
and he'll be, you know, up on our, and we don't mind. We like Walter, you know, but there are times like I had to tell him, I'm like, it's deer season. Like, but our blind, your horse is right standing in our blind area,
Yeah.
you know. So it's things like that, where, you know, it's got respect comes in, you know. But other than that, yeah,
Good fences make good neighbors.
Yes.
that's one area that's not good. Yes.
Well, I was going to
Unfortunately,
say,
that's happening.
you can build a fence too. And
Yes,
you can keep them
and
out with
that's
a
what
fence
we're
too.
doing.
So, yeah.
We're slowly getting there with my husband's box plating everything right
But
now.
there's just so much to do. It's priority.
We started with bare ground too.
Yes.
We did two.
We're on our
5 years ago.
second.
This is the second from bare ground that we've built
Yeah.
in our marriage. And, yeah.
Well, you guys have been very helpful.
Good.
Thank you for taking
Good.
the
So
time with
don't
me.
Yeah.
overwhelm yourself.
Definitely check out Hank's channel and
Don't
ours.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Don't let fear override and cause you to overwhelm yourself
Yeah.
and wear out.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. So I am I like to research, take my time, and prepare myself.
Good.
I mean, it's taken me over a month to decide what kind of feed I'm going to feed my chickens because I want to do non-GMO, organic.
But if you do whole grains, you have to soak those grains
Are you talking about like fermenting?
for your
Yeah,
chickens.
yeah, yeah.
You
That's
need to
what she's
ferment
talking. We've got a video on that we recently put up.
Well,
So
it
that-
stretches the
Yes, and they can process, they can
eat it.
and not
Yeah.
pass it.
You raise your relative food value by on whole grains. You raise your relative food value and your palatability by fermenting.
There's a lot of videos I saw on YouTube. And I'm like, I gotta do this. It's gotta be a thing where it's like the cost. It just carries your dollar a lot.
It
further.
does. It does.
Now, I would say that a lot of the processed chicken feed, like the crumbles
Yeah.
and stuff like that, you're not benefiting that a whole lot by fermenting.
So
Because you can either ferment or you can grind. And
Yeah.
that ground feed, you've already kind of got some of that process.
so there's this these seeds like the clovers and all that that I found that I can build a box in the coop
Uh-huh.
and then spread those seeds and put the chicken wire over it
Uh-huh.
and let them
Sprout.
grow and sprout them.
And it lets them grow and they eat it off the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've read Harvey Usury's stuff, haven't you?
It's just video. Well,
Yeah.
I haven't read yet. I've
Okay,
just watched
okay.
videos. But I am going to buy the books because who knows if
Right.
there's internet and I'm going to be able to access it.
Yeah, but let me tell you, you can research and you can watch YouTube videos and you can do all that,
Yeah.
and it will not replace your own experience.
Right.
Doing it is going to teach you way more.
Yeah.
And so